Alright, we are live. Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to the Kiwi Lads channel. We are back for another match of Super Rugby Pacific. This one, the Reds taking on the Rebels. Now, the last game that we just watched, it wasn't very close. The Chiefs getting themselves the comfortable win over Moana Pacifica. And the way that the table sits, after that win, the Chiefs actually do promote themselves up to 38 points. Puts them ahead of the Brumbies at this stage of the round. But of course, the Brumbies, they have got their matchup up against the Tars just a little bit later on in the weekend. This one here, though, 5 versus 6. This can change quite a bit for the overall Super Rugby Pacific standings. Looking through at the starting lineup, first of all, for the Reds, it will be Fa'agasi in the front row alongside Matt Faisler and Jeffrey Tuamanga-Allen, Ryan Smith and Angus Blythe in the locking duo with Liam Wright, Fraser McRae and Harry Wilson. A very handy loose forward trio out there on the park for the Reds, going head-to-head with quite a handy Rebels loose forward trio here as well. Kalani Thomas and Lawson Creighton will be the 9-10 combo with Hunter Paisami and Josh Fluke in the midfield. Matt Greeley out on the left. Tim Ryan, the young superstar who is breaking onto the Super Rugby Pacific scene, he is there at number 14. And then at number 15 to close out the side, it is once again going to be Jock Campbell now for the Rebels. In the front row, Kai Lea, Jordan Ulesi and Taniela Tupou. Smith and Canham will be the locking duo with Kimini, Ikuasi and Rob Leota in the loose forward trio. Ryan Lowrens, he's been one of the standout halfbacks out of the Australian sides throughout Super Rugby Pacific. Carter Gordon on his outside at 10 with Just and Dalgunu in the midfield. Darby Lancaster out on the wing. Lockie Anderson out on the other two sevens players for the Rebels out on the wings, and then Andrew Callaway there, number 15, to close out the starting lineup. For this game, I feel like it's going to be an extremely important one for these two sides. Like I mentioned, 5 versus 6. Whoever wins this has themselves a really good shot of still making it into the top 4 and having a home quarter final. The side that loses this game, though, it may just be a little bit too much of a mountain to climb to get them back into the contest. Looking at the previous fixture for these two teams, the Reds in last week's game, they were able to get themselves the golden point victory over the Crusaders, 33 points to 28, or at least it was very close to a golden point game before the Reds were able to secure themselves the victory. Of course, they have already gone to golden point. That was up against the Hurricanes earlier on in the season. Then the Blues, they were able to get themselves a nice win over the Reds, 38 points to 11. Now, that was a home game for the Reds, so I feel like that hurt the confidence just a little bit. But there's still time in this season to be able to come back into it and get yourself that form back. Perhaps it could be in this game. Throughout the weekend, we've still got plenty more games as well. I should mention 4 games taking place for Super Rugby Pacific tomorrow. First of which, Blues versus Hurricanes, followed by Highlanders versus Crusaders, couple New Zealand derbies, and then Waratahs taking on the Brumbies at 9:35, the late night game, the Force and the Fijian Drua. We have got there, well, that's a big score so far. Risbane Rebels, Sears Pads Ablaze, and there as well. Of course, this is going to be a home game for the Queensland Reds, taking place at Suncorp Stadium, a place where they've got a decent record overall. They've beat some of the top sides in the competition at this ground, but I think the big thing here for the Reds is definitely going to be how they start with that loose forward trio. They're going to try and bring plenty of that physicality. Harry Wilson, Fraser McRae, and also, of course, Liam Wright there as the number 6. They're just showing here, Kalani Thomas. He's actually got a very good pass accuracy for this season, 97%, going head-to-head with Ryan Lowrens, who has made close to the most passes in the Super Rugby Pacific competition. So these two stylistically may match up quite well. We've seen a few try assists for both men throughout the season as well. But do let me know who you think will win this game, ladies and gentlemen. For me, it's a tricky one. I honestly feel like, tell you what, we're lagging a little bit by the looks of it. It's going to do that today, so we'll go like that, and that will fix it. There we go. But I honestly feel like this is one of those games that even though it seems like it should be a heavy advantage to one team, I just don't know if I see it happening that way. So I'm going to say either of these sides by less than 10. Hopefully less than 7, but the Rebels will be kicking this one off from right to left to get us underway for this contest. And it's taken by Hunter Paisami, was then tackled by Filippo Dalgunu. Who knows, maybe that could be the midfield combination for the Wallabies in the future. Kick downfield from the Reds, clearing their lines, and the ball does go into touch. About 45 metres out, Rebels will have their first opportunity at line-out time with Jordan Ulesi. This is going to be one of those games that you have to make sure set piece is working well early. Because if it is, and it's functioning, you're going to find yourself getting a lot more momentum than if you are having those scrums not quite working your way, if you have line-outs not going straight or being intercepted by your opposition. A little pop pass up there for Jordan Ulesi. Driven backwards by Harry Wilson. Now Lowren's digging in there for the ball in the breakdown. Cross to Josh Kemeny. Lowren's cross. Oh, hang on. In the absence of Rob Leota that I've just mentioned, I believe I heard. So, a big change for them in that regard. They do still have Josh Canham out on the field. I'll try and work out who it is at number 8 in a very short moment. Andrew Callaway now. Ball's still going to be there for him. Is that stolen by the Reds? Yes, it is. Liam Wright is the player who has been able to get over the ball and does manage to win the penalty there for the Queensland Reds. Andrew Callaway, the man who got a little bit isolated. It did look like they were a bit slower getting men into that breakdown. I believe Kemeny was actually the man who had to try and run over and stop the Reds from getting the turnover. Now Lawson Creighton will kick this one into touch. Now, like I said, I want this game to be close, but there is also a chance that we see the Reds do what they have throughout some of their other big contests, and that is getting themselves handy wins. Does seem to be, though, that when they're up against New Zealand opposition, they find their feet a little bit more than the Australian opposition. Kevin Foote watching on for this away game. Ball's going to be thrown over the top for Matty Faisler. It's straight to Liam Wright. Around the side of the breakdown, Matt Greeley. There's a lot of pressure on him because at the end of the day, we are starting to see Tim Ryan. He's really bursted onto the scene from 2 games, scoring 5 tries. Type of record that you definitely want at the start of your Super Rugby Pacific career. Hunter Paisami now getting dragged down well by Angelo Smith. Back across McWright and behind Lawson Creighton. I think that ball was intercepted, so we'll go back for the original penalty in favour of the Reds. This is looking like an easy opportunity for 3 points if they want it. But I don't know if they want it. I think that they may even consider going for the corner here. Depends on what the mindset is. But I do think it will be to go for the corner. We will go like that and like that. There we go. They cook it. Oh, they are kicking for the corner in this case. Oh. Well, Jordan Ulesi actually took a bit of a head knock by the looks of it there, which is why he was a little bit slower rolling away. Possibly why he did end up with that penalty. Now, ball's going to be thrown in. Liam Wright now. And about 7 metres out from the try line. Getting driven backwards here. That'll be a good match, says William. Hopefully it's a close one between the two sides. I know that a lot of people are saying that the Reds will run away with it if there was a one-sided affair here. At the moment, they have had the better of the first 4 minutes in the contest. A lot more possession. Being able to use it to their advantage. Kalani Thomas trying to milk the penalty there. Unfortunately for him, because he was taking so long, it means that the Rebels have managed to get themselves the turnover, but there was just that little knock-on from the Rebels. So they'll go back for a red scrum here yet again. Like they've said, the Reds just trying to get themselves that turnover. A little bit of a cheeky play. Trying to get the referee on your side. Normally the way to do it is not by falling over the man who is there. Oh, they actually said Jordan Ulesi has knocked that ball on. It looked like it went back. Scrum feed now for the Reds here. 5 minutes into the contest as well. It's going to be flying by the looks of it. A moment, we will go like that. And like that, there we go. Penalties conceded at scrum time, 23 for the Reds. They've only won 9 penalties, so it's a little bit of an interesting stat there, because you'd assume that a team would win just as many penalties at scrum times as they gave away, but that is not the case. Normally that is when the Reds are up against New Zealand sides, they give away quite a few more penalties. But when you look at someone like the Hurricanes and the way that their scrum has been able to dominate throughout the season, pretty much any side that they've gone head-to-head with, we're going to see tomorrow them going up against the Blues. That should be a very intriguing head-to-head, mainly because of that scrum battle and also line-outs. I feel like the Blues have that massive advantage at line-out time. Going down in the front, they've got the ball available to play, so Kalani Thomas going back around, loopy play over the top, goes out to Matt Greeley, good tackle from Dalgunu, and they are just a metre out from the try line now. Kalani Thomas goes over to Liam Wright. He looked very close to getting that ball grounded. In fact, it's been held up. Clearly held up over the line. There's the call from Paul Williams. I don't know about clearly held up. It looked like he was actually pretty close to getting that ball down. We're going to see the replay here. It's only about 5 metres out initially, Jock Campbell. And by the time he was dragged down, that is fantastic work from, I want to say it was Angelo Smith who managed to turn him over. And on the halfway line at the moment, here comes Harry Wilson. Of course, they're going to throw him straight at the opposition line. In this case, Kailea was the man who met him head on. The Reds looking the more likely to score themselves a try in the early stages of this match. Kalani Thomas back across to the left-hand side to Jock Campbell. Now again going left. Liam Wright sitting 30 metres from the try line. Kalani Thomas across to Ryan Smith. His head's been rattled there by Jordan Ulesi. Not a very nice hit from him, going out wide to Josh Fluke, who's also been flattened. There's been a lot of big shots throughout these two sides. The under-20 New Zealand looked good against the Pumas. They did, and it was one of those games that, to be honest, they had to. Because up against South Africa, there were a few moments that people were starting to doubt whether they could actually play in wet weather. And I feel like that game up against the Pumas showed that they have still got a little bit of something that they can put on the plate. And hopefully their game up against the Australians on Sunday, we get to see a really good contest yet again. Ball's still there for the Reds. Up to 11 phases now. Fraser McWright trying to step on the inside. Kalani Thomas looking for the box kick here. It's a bit of a different tactic. It's going to be taken beautifully from Tim Ryan. He's one of those young players at the moment. He's playing the ball on the ground, and that maybe is because he is so young. But that was a fantastic take under the high ball from Tim Ryan, leaping up. And just to mention, this is a young man who has come from not really anyone knowing who he is to now being the most likely of all the Reds players to score himself a try in this game. It reminds me a little bit of when Will Jordan first broke onto the All Blacks scene, how a lot of people, of course, knew he was solid for the Crusaders, but then when he started scoring try after try after try, people started taking a little bit more notice of that man. I feel like it's going to be no different in this game. Oh, Taniela Tupou, a little bit of a head knock here by the looks of it. Looks like he's got a cut to his eye or maybe to his ear. Trying to work out where that blood is actually coming from. It may be a little bit higher up, around the hairline. Oh, Taniela Tupou, great young talent for Razor to blend into the All Blacks. Says Manny M. Right, Taniela Tupou going off for an HIA. It is a very rare occurrence for that man to be injured. Of course, I am joking. That man's injured every 5 minutes, unfortunately. And it is a shame because he's such a strong player. I don't even know where the head knocks come from. They're just showing the replay there. I didn't see any head contact for Taniela Tupou. He was bleeding from there. So maybe it was a little bit earlier on that he took the knock. But he's gone off the field for Talakai. And it is debatable whether or not Taniela Tupou will be returning to the field. But here comes Tim Ryan again, running straight at Kailea, showing no fear early on in this contest. Back to the left-hand side, and behind Hunter Paisami. Good handling from the Reds, but good work in the breakdown from Filippo Dalgunu. And he's got himself the penalty there. Hunter Paisami, a little bit disappointed with that one, as you can probably expect. Well, we will go like this. We'll go like that as well. But now Carter Gordon, opportunity to kick this one towards the touchline. This is the best attacking chance that the Rebels have had throughout this first 9 or kind of 10 almost minutes in the match. But great work from the Filippo Dalgunu. Straight over the ball. Hunter Paisami was trying to ask for a penalty, I believe, when he was lying on his back, maybe saying that his hands were down. Now going to be thrown in by Jordan Ulesi. Pop back up. Ulesi goes to Lawrence. Inside to Nicholas Euster. Which players impress you in the New Zealand under-20s team? I've liked the look of... Well, to be fair, there's a few of the players who look like they're good value. Like, of course, the captain, like Vernon, I would say he's looking not too shabby, but I still feel like he's pretty green compared to, you know, like Super Rugby level, which, of course, can happen with a young player. I think that number 15, whose name, of course, has just slipped out of my mind at the moment, but the man who got himself the 2 tries in the game up against Argentina. Or was it up against South Africa that he got 2 tries? It might have been up against South Africa that he scored himself the 2 tries. But yeah, I'll be able to tell you tomorrow, or sorry, the next day when we cover another game, just because I'll get a refresh of all the names of the players again. Some good shifting of the ball for the Rebels. They have actually got the opportunity to line up 3 points here. Might not be a bad call at this stage of the contest. We'll go there. We will go like that as well. There we go. Carter Gordon. Now a chance for him to line up this kick. Percentage throughout the season is 69, career 58. Not the best numbers, but he's got that one all right, Carter Gordon. It's actually hit the post and still gone over. So that will mean that the Rebels take the lead in this contest, 3-0 early on. Hamish back again, can't stay long, going to go out for lunch with friend. See, as Russo, hopefully you do enjoy your lunch, Roof. Carter Gordon, he would have been nervous there, would have been thinking it was dropping to 68% for the season if that one had not bounced favourably. Okay, they had 2 balls on the field. They've now switched to the lead. This might be the best game the Rebels have had this season. See, Sebastian. Yeah, although they're still 6th, aren't they? Like, they've struggled at times, but they're still, you know, they've got, I'll tell you what, they've got potential here. Pass on the outside to Ryan, oh, he's dropped it, never mind. Okay. Well, he had a chance out on the wing, Ryan Lawrence, before he did put that ball down. I'm sure he will not be happy about. Moving up to the 22 here. Reds now on their own 22 will have the line-out throw, but it was a good breaking run from Darby Lancaster, who just doesn't look like he tries too hard when he runs. He just seems to glide, a little bit like Will Jordan. Everyone's compared to Will Jordan today. I've compared Tim Ryan to Will Jordan, and I've also compared Darby Lancaster to Will Jordan. Wonder who else will fall into that category by the end of the game. Fraser McWright, I'm trying to find that gap. The match between team is 5th and team in 6th. Says William, that's going to be another penalty. They've been better than the Crusaders, in fairness. Says Sebastian, thanks, we have an extra piece of chicken for you. Reds to come out strong, says Ruth. Like a little bit of an injury there for Josh Kimini as he was walking away. Another penalty goes the way of the Reds, though, and they will now be able to kick this one towards the touchline. 3 penalties, actually, against both sides for the early stages of this match. And that does make it tricky when you're giving away penalties flat out. Trying to break that chain is normally the hardest part. If you can break it, you're in the money. Possession 66% at the moment is also in favour of the Reds, I should mention. Right, the call from Liam Wright. think he was spelling out a word, but I didn't actually get what word it was, what has gone wrong with the Crusaders this season. It's just, like, it sounds like an excuse, but it is true. They've had a lot of changes. Like, they've lost maybe 10 to 12 All Blacks from their original side that they had last year. They've lost players overseas. They've lost players to injury. They've got a different coach, but I don't think that that can be the full blame for how they are going this season. It's just, they're in that adjustment period of they normally would have a lot better side, a lot better players to be able to pick from, and sadly for them, it just hasn't worked out for this season. But they are still in the runnings for the top 8, which is crazy to think with the fact that they've only had about 1 win, or 2 wins, sorry, I think it is now. Throughout the season, my friend says I watch too much rugby. She's an artist type in German, says Ruth. And it's raining hard here again, says Ruth there. Almost keeping that ball in the field of play was Lockie Anderson, but it will now be 5 metres out from the line for the Reds. Another line out chance. Harry Wilson was just trying to get into that breakdown. Telling that rugby is an art. Oh, that's a good one. Don't mention the VAR, says Fluffy. Our ball's going to be thrown in, nicely taken. The Reds now starting to get this rolling maul going forward. Matt Faisler hanging on to it at the back. His chances of scoring going up drastically here. He drops on the line, or he might have been very close to short there. Referee sees a grounding, and that will be the first try of the match now for the Reds. And it's Matt Faisler who has been able to get it. Zawar. In a German accent. I see. Rather than the VAR. See, I thought VAR because we're in like NRL territory. We're in Queensland. Of course, state of origin coming just around the corner. So I thought you were talking about that. Rugby is a kinetic sculpture because you win by scoring tries, says Sebastian. Yeah, I try. She says, why do they keep trying? And she's the most amazing portrait artist, won lots of competitions. Impressive. I know that one, Fluffy. Now lining up this kick, Lawson Creighton. Only 5-3 lead, and that one's a missed away to the side. And it's going to stay at 5-3 in favour of Reds. Like they've said there, it's a bit of an early stage of the contest. No one's really confirmed. She's married to a guy called Boris in the movies industry. So a director or some sort of actor and a artist. I feel like they match up quite well, don't they? It's going to be another penalty going the way of the Rebels. 14 has all rights to be there, that being Lockie Anderson, and then it was actually slapped back. Like they've just said, excellent knowledge. And they do, Hamish. He's the props master, says Ruth. 17 minutes in. At the moment, like they're just saying, a little bit of an awkward fall. Like this. Here we go. So looking at the odds at the moment, the Rebels are still considered quite heavy underdogs. But there's still another fair way to go in this matchup. 18 minutes in. Jordan Ulesi looks like he's going to be playing this one, although he might actually go to his teammate. Yes, he does. Angelo Smith gets a leg drive going. He's 1 metre from the line now. Jordan Ulesi, if they can shift this out to the left-hand side, I think it's going to be try time for the Rebels, and they have got the penalty advantage as well. Filippo Dalgunu, short ball to Callaway, who's through, and he scores the try. The Rebels take the lead back again. Oh, but he's injured. This doesn't look good for Andrew Callaway. Filippo Dalgunu helps him up. Excuse my spelling today. He goes on set and filming locations. She does a lot of props for the movie industry. There's Ruth, and also the Kiwi lad says that Spider Mick. Yeah, great flat ball from Filippo Dalgunu. Got it across to Callaway, who did look like he was a little bit rattled. Might have just been the way that he slapped his head on the knee of the player who was on the ground. I think he got a bit of a knock to the middle of the back of the dome. Oh no, it was a swinging arm from Hunter Paisami that connected with him. No wonder he was a little bit wobbly after taking the shot. Oh, hang on. We've got a little bit of something going on here. This sounds like they're making a decision of whether or not it should possibly be something more than just a try. Right, Callaway's saying he's all right. But the TMO with Richard Kelly. They're just checking this one. And the motion of scoring the try, whether or not there was a swinging arm. It's the big question. Right, 12 red is who is in question. That is Hunter Paisami. He's already had one suspension this year. I'm a Rockabilly Rebels. He's a big, strong captain of the Reds. He's playing for the Australian national team. Oh. So I think the Reds captain for this game, is it Fraser McRoy? I think it is. Right, it sounds like it's going to be a yellow card here. And Sebastian, yeah, I did. She's a supporter of the Springboks like her husband. It's going to be a yellow card for Hunter Paisami. Now, they will have the chance to review this, but I don't think it's going to be anything more than just a yellow card here. And not what they needed in this case. Hunter Paisami. Okay, they're just saying they expected to stay at yellow, which it should, to be fair, but then saying that head contact's always a bit of a hard one. You never know whether or not it's going to be upgraded to the red. A yellow four, so it was the swinging arm on Andrew Callaway as he was finishing the try, is what it ended up being. So Callaway was in the motion of scoring. Hunter Paisami came in, gave him the swinging arm to the head. Still scored the try, though, Andrew Callaway, and the conversion is good for the Rebels. Now giving themselves a 10 points to 5 lead. Head smacking isn't nice. Says Roof, and come on Reds, Fraser now, that's Scottish. Says Roof, and no more croc rolls having. I did see that, which to be fair, they shouldn't be in the game, or they shouldn't have been in the game anyway, in any sort of way. So the fact that they're now deciding that they're going to get rid of them is a very good thing, and they should be handing out suspensions for the players who are doing them, because all that they do is shorten careers and take guys off the rugby field for like 9 months while they recover. You look at someone like a Darcy Swain and a Quinn Tupaia situation. Now, it's going to be not straight from the Reds. And the Rebels, hang on, they had to get their numbers right earlier. I think they said that they had the wrong number. Quick tap taken. Now Carter Gordon looking for the kick in behind. This one's looking very close to out on the full. I think it's just bounced in the field of play. Smack me head up. Says Fluffy. And go on, boys, let's go. Or come on, Reds, let's go, boys. Says Roof there as well. Like they are just saying the Rebels exactly what they would have been wanting there. Get themselves that next try just around the corner. That's what's on the cards. Nicely taken at the front. Oh, now that's not straight. For the Reds, that's 2 lineouts in a row, one at either end of the field. Fazler can't quite believe it. Fraser McGright gives him a tap on the chest as if to say, don't worry about that one, he just doesn't like us. And it's now going to be the scrum feed for the Rebels, who do have the one-man advantage like they mentioned. It did stray a little bit, not really contestable. Like they've just said there again, nice bit of momentum going the way of the Rebels here. Who knows how it's going to go throughout the rest of this game. I feel like the Rebels, if they can continue this going into half-time, they can actually find themselves with a nice little lead heading into the second half. They've won 24 penalties off their scrum. They've conceded 21. See, that's a little bit more like what you expect to see. The Reds scrum really has struggled, though, in terms of being able to get decent penalty numbers. That's a free kick against them. Now the Rebels, what's the decision going to be? Fun fact, the lass from Die at Wood as a Box fan says Fluffy. Also Fluffy, okay. Let's move. Now 6.5 minutes left. Oh, okay. Danny Olachupo has failed his HIA. So that man is once again injured. And this time he's going to be off for the next probably 2 weeks, I would say, somewhere around there. This mandatory 12-day stand down. How many games has he been out for? I'd love to know that stat. How many games he's played, how many games he's been injured during, and how many games he's been injured so he can't play in. Like, the stats have to be against him at the moment this season. A little bit of a hit to the Rebels here. They've also lost Andrew Callaway due to that head knock that he sustained from Hunter Paisami, which does now mean that Jake Strawn has made his way on the field. Hamish doing super work here. Shame he's unlucky. Says Roof. And now 10 metres out from the line, not rolling away. Going against the Reds. Lowrens goes across. Short ball the Talakai. We'll have to play the rest of this game. Thought about the offload. Kailea. No advantage. 9 not rolling away. Ball pops up for Ryan Lowrens and has been knocked out of his hands by Harry Wilson. They'll go back for another penalty, and this is the opportunity again for the Reds. They have to defend from only about 10 metres out from their line. Right, they're going for the corner again here. So many penalties, though, against the Reds early. Paul Williams not letting them away with anything throughout this game. Carter Gordon looking to kick this one. No, they take the quick tap. Talakai. Seemed like a good idea at the time, but the Reds have been able to defend it pretty nicely. Now 10 metres from the line. Another penalty advantage here would probably give them a warning. Tackle made by Tim Ryan. Now Lawrence goes back on the inside. 7 red offside, this time against Fraser McWright. Another penalty, double blow of the whistle. And this is now going to be the last warning, or else the Reds will be playing like the Queensland Maroons in the NRL, or in the state of origin, and they'll be playing with only 13 men on the field in a short moment. Okay, official team warning for the Reds, even though we've only been going for 26 minutes. And the Rebels just keep on throwing everything at their opposition at the moment. They are not afraid to push the pace here to try and, I guess, just eventually tire out the Reds into giving them that try. They're going to go for the scrum now. 3.5 minutes remaining of Hunter Paisami's yellow card, so they can't take too long. They have to try and make sure that they do still have a bit of a chance. Yolandi, Entwood, is that a rock group? And also James O'Connor reserve. He is. He's going to be coming off the bench in this game, James O'Connor. Same with Tate McDermott. So a good combo later on in this game for the Reds. The question is, if they continue playing like this, though, how much will they be down by when those men make their way onto the field? Like, Thomas probably hasn't done too badly. It's just he hasn't really had a chance to distribute the ball, seeing as they've had so much pressure on them. Call is set from the referee. Short side to Carter Gordon. Once again, just getting that little bit closer to the try line now for the Melbourne Rebels. And Banana Brain says Fluffy, that's close. They need to release him though. It's 2 metres from the line. Canham. In fact, this time, the big number 8 for the Rebels. Now around the side, Angelo Smith very close to the try line. Ekuasi gets it away to Talakai. He's got the grounding. And Taniela Tupou may have gone off the field, but Talakai stepped on and he stepped up and got their second try now of the contest for the Rebels. Looking hard to beat at the moment, this Melbourne Rebels side, with the way that they continuously just throw themselves at the Reds. The Reds are just getting pinged for their discipline. And it seems like because of that, they just don't really have an answer, which is quite weird to say. But it's working very well at the moment, I should mention. Sam Talakai, the man who hasn't been able to score it. Joe Schmidt can have a headache picking his national team, says Spider-Meek, but it's a good headache to have, isn't it? You'd rather have too many options than too little. I was way too harsh on the Rebels, wasn't I? Says Sebastian. Oh, that miss kick from Carter Gordon still gives them the lead by 10. Not quite extended the way that they would have liked. I think that a lot of people were harsh on the Reds for this game, but it's what happens in the second half. Like, it's all well and good starting like this, but if the Reds, once they get back to 15 men, start to build their momentum, I still think that they'll have a decent chance of being able to come back, but it's certainly looking a lot better than we anticipated. But I said about it on the podcast as well. I mentioned that you're in that scenario for the Reds, how they have a massive game, and I mean massive. Beating the Crusaders. They beat the Reds, they beat the Chiefs, and then the next game they normally get slaughtered by a side that they shouldn't lose to. Or at least shouldn't lose to by the margin that they do. And that's the inconsistencies that we see for the Reds season, unfortunately, that they just don't quite seem to be able to keep the momentum flowing from game to game, and instead it's only a once in a while type arrangement. Looks like it's going to be another line out throw here for the Reds. The last two lineouts have gone wrong, which led to that position for the Melbourne Rebels. Can Matt Faisler get it right this time? And looking at the odds once again, she's looking not so good now for the Reds. I mentioned how they were favourites. That was before we saw two back-to-back tries being scored by the Rebels. Kalani Thomas, come back across there. Sebastian Hip Hop, never heard of them. I must Google them. Says Ruth. Being told to use it once again for Kalani Thomas. That ball was out. We did have to boot it a little bit earlier. Tim Ryan out there, he certainly is. He took the high ball earlier on. That's about the only time that we have seen Tim Ryan throughout this game. He also gave away that penalty after taking the high ball for playing it on the ground, though. That was the last we actually saw him, other than a tackle on Dalgunu. First 30 minutes, definitely not as busy out there as I'm sure Reds fans would have liked to see him. Now Ryan Lowrens once again just analysing where the next gap's going to be. Put into touch here. And it has gone into touch. The Reds will have to concentrate, focus up the game now on, says Ruth. Yeah, they've got Hunter Paisami back, so that is at least one bonus that they can now work with. The fact that they have got Paisami out there again. They're just talking about Harry Wilson and Fraser McGrath. Those are the type of players that Joe Schmidt will also expect to step up if push comes to shove. Moana Pacific have almost the same amount of points differential in the negatives as the Chiefs. Moana Pacific had minus 194. Chiefs have 189. That seems like a really mean stat to bring up, Nov Mum. You already bet them by 35. It seems like you're just twisting that knife when it's already in their chest. That's going to be kicked in behind. That was a massive shot, though, coming in on Josh Fluke. Quite slow getting up to his feet here now. 8 minutes remaining in this half. Tell me honestly, Hamish, the Wallabies are screwed for the season of the Rugby Championship, aren't they? I don't really know, to be honest. Just because, they normally seem like they shouldn't have a chance, and then normally, they just seem to be a little bit of a dark horse of South Africa. They seem to have close games. up against the Springboks, up against New Zealand. I'm not sure how they'll match up. New Zealand, a whole new look side. So I don't think they'll do as bad as some people think they will. But then I also don't think they'll have all their problems fixed in one go. Like, I feel like a third place finish for Australia is where I'd put them overall. This has to be bloody frustrating being a Reds fan, says Leshan. Yeah, it's not easy, I don't think. But, you know, the faithful's still sticking by them. And don't worry, our faith Reds will start bouncing soon. Says Roof. Now another throw here for Matt Faisler. Any specialty from your Mother's Day, Hammy? I assume that's like a special appearance. I did ask if she wanted to come on the live stream earlier on, but she said nah. So it's just going to be me for Mother's Day, I would say. Might have a George guest for New Zealand versus Australia in the under-20s. Might be a possibility. We're going to be filming that day. So more than likely, I think we'll try and get something going as like videos and guest-wise, hopefully. Fingers crossed. If we don't run out of time, that is. We're going to be a little bit tight in terms of our schedule. It's going to be a goal line dropout for the Reds. Already 33 minutes through this contest, ladies and gents. A kick downfield. Oh, Callaway has passed his HIA, so he has been given the okay and the green light to make his way back out onto the field. Hamish, hope you have a great day with your mum. Mother's Day, cake and more cake. Says Ruth. It's going to be another penalty this time. This isn't looking good. Every time that there's a breakdown at the moment and the Reds try and get a little bit sneaky, they're getting pinged. Yeah, where's George anyway? He's been working flat out. So he's now working on the yams rather than working in terms of the silage. So he's pretty much just moved from one job that he does for the on-season and one job that he does for the off-season. He's just pretty much swapped them because one of them is currently a lot more busy. So he's been a busy bloke. He hasn't really had too many free moments. If you guys still want a bit of George, of course, you can catch him on the entertainment channel. We have videos on there all the time. That's a classic Hamish answer. But I did give you where I thought they'd finish on the overall table. So I feel like that's more than you'd normally get from impartial Hamish. That's going to be stolen by the Reds at line-out time. Harry Wilson goes across to Fraser McGride, now to Hunter by Sami. Quick hands here for the Reds. They're inside of their 22. Good attack and run from Greeley in terms of the pace being shown. And Jock Campbell now trying to break his way through. I think he's got back to his feet there almost. Reds number 15. Crowd don't sound like they're too happy with it at the moment. Kalani Thomas about to put it back into the pocket to Lawson Creighton. The moment just has to play a bit of the territory game. Lancaster goes back across. Strawn slices it out. Didn't get a huge amount of distance on it for Jake Strawn. And I think that will be the last thing that he does of the day. Now he's going to be taken off the field for Andrew Callaway. Can the Reds make the most of this little half chance that they've got 40 metres out from the line here? Only a few minutes remaining. They decided to go with the running game from the Reds initially, but then went back to the kicking afterwards. There's the Kiwi Lads Entertainment link from Sebastian. Luckily, I had my day off. So how is your illness? You're looking much better, says Morna. It's like 70% gone, I'd say. Somewhere around there. So we're doing all right at the moment, but we've still got a bit of improvement to make before we're back to 100%. But yeah, we should be all right over the weekend. We've got 5 live streams back to back tomorrow. So I should mention Stormers Dragons we aren't covering on the channel. Main reason behind that is the fact that it's just a no time for us here in New Zealand. It's 6:30 a.m. on Saturday morning, which is in about 8 hours time by the time we finish this one, by the time we have tea, by the time we get everything scheduled and edited. You know, if I did that one, I'd only get maybe 2 or 3 hours sleep, which is a pretty brutal way to start the weekend, seeing as we have got those 5 streams. Going to be a no advantage now to the Reds. Hunter by Sami with the inside ball. Look for the offload there was Wilson. And they go back again for another penalty. Right, now they have a decision to make. Do they want to take the 3 here, the Reds? Yeah, only down by 10. 3 would put them within that kind of 7 mark of getting a bonus point, worst comes to worst. I'm going to see it there. It's just taking a man off the ball. I think it was Violini Ikuwasi. They are kicking this one for the corner again here, the Reds. They're being persistent. It'll be about 15 metres out. Now they have to try and work out what the tactic's going to be, whether it is the rolling maul, whether instead they decide to go with a little bit of a safer tactic. And make sure you're staying nicely in that field of play. Don't want to risk going short side. Her mum's on holiday back home in England. So I'll miss her Mother's Day. Can you give her a video call or something instead, Spider-Mink, though, rather than missing her completely? Or a message or something would be, I'm sure, much appreciated by her. Now, 15 metres out, that rolling maul was pretty much sacked straight away by the Rebels. Kalani Thomas goes off to Harry Wilson. Gets those legs pumping. Back across to Ryan Smith now, who's chopped down like he's a tree. And he's almost lost that ball. It's gone backwards. Talakai, little knock on there from the Reds. Knock on from the Rebels. Referee's letting it flow. No, there was the knock on. Wait, they've said from the Rebels there. Okay. There's a knock on by Blue. I thought there was an initial line out. Or a knock on. You doing anything special for Mother's Day? Not really. I don't believe. Like, I took my mum out for lunch today because I know that on Sunday we're going to be streaming for a majority of the day, as well as we're doing the recording session with George. I think the family, some of them are going out for lunch, I believe. Probably Wilson, McWright and Liam Wright are all overused and fatigued, says John. Okay, double knock on off Red first. I found the right thing in the end. Yeah, there was the knock on from the Reds initially, and then the Rebels did have their knock on after. Now line out, scrum chance for the Rebels. 20 seconds remaining in the half, so I would assume that by the time this ball goes in, should almost be the end of the half. Oh. Okay, both sides are folding in. Paul Williams. So what are you going to stream on Sunday? Well, we've got the stream till about 4 a.m. on Sunday morning because we're doing the 2 games back-to-back of the URC. Then from there, in the late afternoon for New Zealand time, we are going to be doing the Rugby Championship under-20s last round. I'm hoping to do both games, but at minimum, we'll be doing the New Zealand versus Australia contest. Game earlier than that is actually the one taking place between South Africa and Argentina. That is going to be a 5:45 a.m. kickoff for you guys. And South Africa, penalty goes the way of the Rebels. Crowd not happy about it. Too much movement after the hit, so it is going to be halftime now. 15 points to 5. Okay, Paul Williams describing it well there because he's pretty much said to Liam Wright that they're in that situation of they've been penalised a few times for their scrum, and he pretty much said, like, this is what you've done wrong, and then we've also got the review system just in case I am wrong, which is good, you know. Oh, they're showing KFC again. I think that's what started me wanting Pizza Hut last weekend. This weekend already. Yeah, time for a coffee break. Says Spider-Mech in there as well. Yeah, not too long till the second half does get underway. Probably about 10, 15 minutes or so. It's normally relatively long for the Australian halftime compared to New Zealand. I think they add an extra 5 minutes for ads. Rebs doing well, yeah. Doing very well. The old Melbourne Rebs. But it's going to be interesting to see how they continue in this match because the Reds have given away a lot of penalties. And like, that's beneficial, right? But at the same time, I feel like it's going to hurt the Rebels if they don't get a little bit more reward for those penalties later on in the game. Like if they don't start getting constant 3-pointers or getting another try or two. Oh, 55-inch TV they're trying to sell to me now. Be alright, although I don't think I need one. And the Rebels doing well. But do let me know, ladies and gents, off the bench. Of course, decent players for both sides. We will quickly get up the benches for this one. There we go. So, Josh Nasser at number 16, Penny Ravai and Sane Ungor going to be the options for the Reds. Connor Vest, Bryant, Tate McDermott, James O'Connor, and Suliasi Vonivalu. I feel like those three men have the potential of turning this game away or turning this game around, and that's what I kind of was touching on in terms of they can have all the position they want, the Rebels, and they can have all of the nice plays, but if they can't get a good enough lead to stop that Reds bench from making the impact, that's when they get a little bit of trouble. But Talakai already on the field. They still have that change of Kobus Eloff that they can make, though. So that is good news for the Rebels. Yeah, Jake Strawn also coming onto the field briefly for Andrew Callaway to take a head knock from Hunter Paisami, who was sin-binned for said head knock. So he had a little bit of time off the field, came back out there, and finished the half relatively decently. But yeah, discipline of the Reds, I think, was really hurting throughout that first half, and I don't know whether or not that was because they were maybe a little bit more strict than we've seen in some of the Reds' other games, but it was certainly catching them off guard, giving away so many penalties. But next game for these two sides, ladies and gentlemen, I believe the Reds, their next contest will actually be an away game up against the Fijian Drua. Now, that is not an easy contest. As we know, the Fijian Drua, extremely impressive away record. Whereas on the other side of things, we are, of course, going to get to see the Rebels take on the Chiefs. Now, that is a home game at Amy Park, so that is one bonus for the Melbourne Rebels, and that is going to almost be a must-win if they aren't able to get themselves a victory here. For the Reds, that game up against the Fijian Drua slowly becomes a bit more of a must-win, because if you can't get yourself points now, it's going to be a struggle getting those points later on when you need them most. So I think it's going to be extremely crucial the next couple games for these two sides, definitely because we're getting down to the business end. We've got 5 gifted memberships from Sebastian as well. Thank you very much, mate. Greatly appreciated. Taniela Tupou was taken out, but not even reviewed on video. Says, I wonder what happened to him, because I know he went down. And I was confused at whether or not it was like him hitting his head on someone or whether maybe it was the other way around. So it's interesting that they didn't have a look at it. Kakite RC and Queenslanders are making presence felt about the ref online, says Annoy. Rebs will doing well to kill off every multi, says Mr. Allin. I've seen South Africa is dead last in the Under-20s Championship. I've heard South Africa and Australia made knock-on after knock-on. Don't tell me it rained again. Their game wasn't as heavily affected by rain, unfortunately, for those two sides. They just couldn't hang on to the ball, which, like, I know it sounds bad, but it was the reality. They just weren't able to really do too much with the ball in hands. Daniel Tupou still playing. He is currently injured, unfortunately. Another one. I thought you could use the viewers who get it as well. Or choose the viewers. I wanted to give the one to Fleshin. Sadly, you cannot choose the viewers. Normally, they go with the ones in the chat sometimes, or the most active on the channel sometimes end up getting it. I've noticed, like when Brian gifted them and it had Grant and it had Nov Mum, and a few of those other ones who are on the channel quite a bit. So I'm not sure how to actually pick it. It seems weird that you can't pick who gets it. And even I can't pick who gets a gifted membership, which is, like, honestly, I think it's kind of stupid, because, like, you're always going to have the ones that you're like, yeah, I want to gift you for being a member, or I want to gift you for being a long-time viewer, but, yeah, they don't actually have that option. I know that Twitch do, Twitch actually let you choose who you want to gift your memberships to so that you can give it to certain people. I guess that's also to try and entice you on YouTube to keep on gifting so that you eventually get the person that you wanted to gift it to, which is a bit weird. I can't say too much more on it because I feel like YouTube would get mad at me, but like, you know, like it seems like it's a bit like gambling, isn't it? Because it's like, oh, you didn't get the gifted member that you wanted. Here, spend more money. Rather than just saying, this is the guy that I want to give a membership to, so let me give him a membership. Got to put in more effort, mate. Says Vision. He also has to have it enabled that he can accept gifted memberships. That is something else that I've learned has caught quite a few people off in the past, is that they haven't actually known that they've had to click a certain button to be eligible for a gifted membership. Sebastian, you're so sweet, lovely, says Ruth. And there as well, they're just showing some of the big shots that Nick Euster has been putting in, mainly on number 13, Josh Fluke, throughout this game. He's been a little bit unfortunate in that regard. Hopefully you're covering tonight's match between the Dragons and the Storms. We are not, no. That is one of the games of the URC that we aren't covering this weekend, but I mentioned about it earlier on. The reason that we aren't is it's just a really bad start time for us here in New Zealand. It's 6:30 a.m. on a Saturday morning, and I don't mind doing 6:30 a.m. games on Sunday because normally it's when we've been up for 22 hours and we've already done a majority of our other streams for the weekend. But 6:30 a.m. on a Saturday just is brutal in terms of not just the sleep schedule, because if we were doing it, we should have already probably been asleep now. But it's just, yeah, it's an unfortunate timing of a game that anytime we've done a 6:30 start on a Saturday, like the weekend's just been absolutely brutal. So normally we try and avoid those ones. We are going to be doing 5 games in a row after that as well. So it's not like you won't see us quite a bit over the weekend. It's just more of the case of you'll see us at a different time. We've still got the URC games taking place between the Bulls and Glasgow, as well as Sharks versus Benetton are the 2 games that we are going to be covering of the URC this week. So be sure to still keep an eye out for those ones. Well, we will go like this. We will go like there we go. We got Hamish, Kembo, or Loma. No idea, to be honest. Who are we talking? I assume that's like, is it like the NRL like boxing ones? Is it? Maybe. I could be wrong there though. Thanks, Spider. I'll see you later. Waiting for my friend to arrive. Says Ruth. Well, hopefully they do show up, Ruth. You aren't left by yourself. Hopefully the drawing, if she does any drawing of you, all goes smoothly as well. They're just talking about the fact that on the live ladder you need to win all your games from here on out if you want a good chance of getting yourself through to the next stage. There's a lot on the line. Where we are sitting at the moment, there is plenty to play for, and it's going to be intriguing. I've just said season-defining moments just around the corner. Our live stream the ladies game tomorrow, Kiwi Lads. Sadly not. That would be 6 games in a row. And initially we were going to hopefully do it with my mum for like a Mother's Day thing, but she's actually going to be playing golf, I believe. So it means that sadly we won't be able to cover that game, but it is on before all the Super Rugby games. So I'll probably get to watch it, but I'm not sure whether I'll get to watch the full game. Like if I get up, it will probably be about 10 minutes before that game starts, just with the night that we have got planned ahead of us. Thanks, Spider. Ciao, see you later. I'm waiting for my friend to arrive. And also that I did not know. You didn't know about the women's game, Fleshin? Probably a top-line boxing to ever fight. And Oz. Cambosos and Lomachenko. I think the 135 division, same division as Tank Davis and Shakur. Tell you what, I feel like those names, they do ring a bell. And if I saw them, I'd probably be like, oh yeah, them. But for some reason, my brain's like, nah, if that makes sense. When are they fighting Mr. Hall-in? It's pretty, hopefully cover the Stormers Connacht game next weekend, says Morne Lagrange. One moment, I'll have a quick look at the URC next weekend. Yeah, we'll be covering that one next weekend. No worries at all. And we'll be covering Bulls Benetton. We'll be covering Lions Glasgow. We'll be covering Connacht Stormers. And sadly, due to the overlap, we won't be able to cover Sharks Cardiff. But yeah, we've got Stormers game next week that we will be covering on the channel. So yeah, no need to worry. We will be back. And also, we've still got URC this weekend, like I mentioned. It's just a different game or different 2 games than we would normally cover. We got the Sharks Benetton as one, and then Glasgow versus the Bulls. I feel like that's the main event of the weekend. Of course, Dragons versus Stormers is going to be extremely important for the Stormers season as well. This week, I think Kemi is also on their card. We'll be fighting Lucas Brown, says Mr. Orlin. Right. I'll be honest, I don't really know my New Zealand, Australian boxing that well. I'm much better off with the not the URC, the UFC, in terms of the Kiwis and the Aussies that are normally in action. Yeah, second half, we must be close. It's 11 minutes since the first half ended. Does Stormers play at home or away maybe for that game? And they are away if that is your question, Mornay. Second half. It's got to be close. Like I said, it's normally 10 to 15 for the Australian halftime. Nice to have no idea about that sport. Says Mr. All-In. I know sod all about combat sports. Says Sebastian. Well, lucky for you, Sebastian. We have people who kind of know about it, like in terms of the chat, if you ever wanted to take an interest in it. If not, it's all good. That's the beauty of sport, you know. Some of you guys are probably heavily invested in women's beach volleyball, and I don't know much about it. You guys want me to stream it. I can't think of a reason why, but, you know, I don't know a thing about it. Other than the fact that it must be cold in the winter, but that's why they do it on a beach, and that's why it's in the summer. But not one of my of the mates follow boxing either, says Mr. Orlin. Just talking to one of the coaches for the Reds at the moment. Tackles made pretty even, tackles missed pretty even. Only women's beach volleyball, says Sebastian. Their tackle success rate 88 for the Rebels compared to the 87 of the Reds. So those type of stats are actually pretty even between those two sides, which is great to see. But interesting. Second half. Rebels momentum. I'm just doing random words now rather than actually a sentence. But I think that second half is going to be extremely enjoyable. Hopefully fast-paced. And a little bit of everything in there as well. One moment, we'll go like this. We'll just quickly check the odds. The Reds are still considered as underdogs, but I'm sure if they score their first try of the half early, does the Stormers, in your opinion, have a good chance beating the Dragons away from home? I think they do. If they lost that game, I would be pretty disappointed because I feel like that's one of those contests that I believe should be pretty one-sided. Like, maybe not one-sided. Don't get me wrong, the Dragons have had a couple good games this URC season, but the Stormers, it's the business end of the comp, and they're the runner-ups from last year, the defending champions from the year prior to that. They got to start really digging their heels in and trying to, I guess, finish the job because they're close enough to the playoff games that this is one of those games that they should be able to win. Nicely taken by the Melbourne Rebels. They're inside of their 22. Both sides, I believe, are sitting with 15 men on the field, but the Reds were on their last warning near the end. Another button to get press for gifted memberships. Wait, no, the button to press for gifted memberships. Did we miss a message from Fleshin? Possibly. Sebastian, do you have any idea about that? Now Matt Faisler. Throw it in, nicely taken by Angus. Blythe, pressure on him though by the big man Josh Canham. Across to Harry Wilson. Looks like it's going to be held up, so they do have to release him, as in to enable the possibility to receive a membership. Right. Where is it in the settings? I know that it's somewhere near the donations and whatnot. I think there's like a settings tab down the bottom. Maybe I could be wrong there. Now, Kalani Thomas. There's also a chance it's only available on PC to enable it. I'm not too sure. 40 metres out. At the moment, the Reds still in position. Going off to the right. Thomas. Back across. Kalani Thomas. He's popped that ball out the back door. Lawson Creighton now. Putting the kick up high just outside of the 22. Well taken by Andrew Callaway, who's looking for a gap. He runs it sideways and he runs into Blythe. Mr. All-In has been a member for 5 months. One moment. There we go. That ball's going to be kicked high by the Rebels. No one lining that one up. Filippo Dalgunu, the ball was loose. Ekuasi manages to clean it up now for the Rebels, and it's a good attack and run from him, 45 metres out from the line. Hamish, how many URC games you do this weekend? I think 2 or 3, I think, is the plan. Speaking of sports, the Ice Hockey World Championships are starting today. Oh, World Championships, so that would be multiple countries, I would assume. Little chip in behind from Carter Gordon. Finds open space, but it sits up again for Jock Campbell. He's now been picked up by Filippo Dalgunu, who's got him as if he's like giving him some up against a wall at the moment. Looks like the ball's gone to ground. Knock on there from Fraser McWright. I've said it's gone backwards. I'm not sure in what way that did go backwards. Now back across to the right. Here comes Tim Ryan. Big shot on him. Thanks for the membership, whoever out there. Thanks, mate. Says Mr. All-In. Now looking for the touchline again. Yeah, it's basically the Ice Hockey World Cup. Says Sebastian. I might have to give it a look. What time does it start? In terms of how many hours away is it from starting, Sebastian? Do let me know. Now 40 metres out from the line. Harry Wilson looks a little bit slower to get back to his feet. May have taken a bit of a knock to his forearm here. Doesn't look happy about it either. Also looks like he's slowly walking towards the sideline for Harry Wilson. So I think there's a chance that that man's day might be done. Which is a massive hit for the Reds. Filippo Dalgunu going for the chip in behind, waiting for the bounce of the ball. Sits up now for Jock Campbell again. Starting to run up forward. Thought about the offload. Lawrence has been able to knock it backwards. And Bulls versus Glasgow Warriors. The Bulls will be a strong team. Greeley gets close. Flicks it out the back door for Kalani Thomas. Now McWright lined up and put into touch. Glasgow Warriors at Loftus. What do you think? Yeah, it's gonna be a very good game, that one. Because Glasgow, I still feel like they're a decent travelling side. You know? Why don't we all go like that? Yeah, like that. There we go. So, yeah, that one, looking through at the teams, I would still say that the Bulls will win it, but you just never quite know. So they're 5 metres out from the line at the moment here for the Reds. Throwing it back across to Josh Canham. Another tackle made by Harry Wilson. Looks like he is powering through that injured forearm. Now 25 metres out. Another chance for the Reds. But yeah, that's definitely going to be the game of the weekend, I believe, for the URC. In terms of, matchups-wise, it should be the best one, if that makes sense. I hope it is anyway. It's going to be the first one of the weekend that we cover. We won't actually be doing the Fijian draw versus Western Force game during that time. Now nicely thrown in. Now McWright off the back to Wilson. He has knocked it on this time. Looks disappointed there, Harry Wilson. Just hasn't quite been his day. Definitely not with that injury that he has got here as well. But 35 minutes left in this one. I don't think the scoreboard going to move. So it's time to hit the sack, says Spider Mink. Oh, you feel like the Reds aren't going to come back, Spider Mink. Out of curiosity, did you think that in the Crusaders versus Reds game last week, that maybe a certain side had already won it and then started going a little bit wonky? Because that's what we saw later in the game, Crusaders trying to make that comeback, but the Reds had enough points on the board to be able to deal with it. Does seem to be the trend though. Have a really good game up against a New Zealand side for the Reds, beat a top side that people didn't expect you to beat, and then struggle up against an Australian side that people thought was easy pickings. Going to be a free kick now. Right, what is going to be the plan now off the free kick? They take the quick tap. Lawson, Creighton. Now looks to throw it on the inside. The big forwards. Going to start getting this one moving. Tate McDermott actually out there on the field as well. Here comes Harry Wilson. Sold the dummy. He's dragged down just 3 meters out from the try line now. But again, he thought about going for that quick offload. Probably looking forward at the Champions Cup final in a couple of weeks. From now, who's your pick to win? Ooh, it's a tricky one, isn't it? Because it's neutral territory. Leinster struggled a little bit, but that's understandable because some of their team hadn't actually been playing rugby for a little bit of time. But I would say, if I had to guess, there we go. Win predictor actually still has the Rebels as underdogs, 47% in their favour. Like they've just said, they're down 15-5, yet they're still somehow favourites. But now Harry Wilson will make his way from the field. He was holding that forearm earlier on. And the Reds, says Bhavani. He tried to push it back up for an offload to Ryan Smith. And that was because Ryan Smith might have been actually calling for that ball. He now makes his way from the field. Another chance here for the Reds with Matty Faisler. A lot of calling, a lot of swearing going on as well there. And line out time. It's going to go down. Matt Faisler moves to 10 metres out from the line. Another advantage in their favour. Looks like someone's boot has come off. And Talakai, or in fact Jordan Ulesi, looks like he might have actually taken a shot to one of his ribs here. But the offload there was Blythe. The boot being thrown away by someone. Now the Reds still chance here for them to keep on progressing towards the try line. Tate McDermott has also now made his way onto the field. That could be a massive difference maker for the Reds at this stage of the match. I mentioned how the Rebels needed a good lead before he made his way out there, or else it was going to be a little bit of trouble. McDermott now with the sniping run goes himself, gets to only 2 metres out from the try line. Zainungor round the side. Still penalty advantage. They have to release him. Balls pop back out the back door. At the moment it is very unclear who is going to be the Reds player who gets towards that try line. Looks like McDermott has passed back and he's knocked that one on. And now they will go back for their original penalty again. Reds need to score now. They certainly do. If they score now, this game's not over. But if they can't quite, like I would say the game is still not over, but it's looking a lot more beneficial. Oh, 2 in a row now from the Rebels. Oh, it looks like Jordan Ulysses really struggling. I'll give you my scoreline. Leinster 23, Toulouse 30. My winner, Toulouse to win the Champions Cup. Says Mornay Lagrange. Okay, the offside is over on the 15-metre line. Giuseppe Revai has now made his way onto the field as well, ladies and gentlemen. A couple more changes. And that is Sif Fagasi, He makes his way from the field. He's had a pretty solid game overall. Like the Reds scrum, like they've been penalised quite heavily at times. But every once in a while it looked like it went all right for him. Another big yawn. I'd rather have to win it than Leinster, says Sebastian. Oh, here's a question for you, Seb. And you're going to love it. Would you rather Leinster lose the Champions Cup and win the URC, or Leinster lose the Champions Cup and win the URC? Did I just say the same thing twice? You get what I mean. Lose the Champions Cup, win the URC, lose the URC, win the Champions Cup. Which one would you prefer? And of course, the answer is probably going to be neither, but you have to pick one. That's now the rule that I've come up with. You can't sit on the fence like you always do. You know, who sits on the fence around these parts? I can't think of anyone. Hey, how's it going? Who are we rooting for? At the moment, the Rebels are up by 10 and they weren't supposed to be. So they are still considered slight underdogs, even though they're ahead by 10. I think a lot of people are going for the underdog victory. Win the Champions Cup, let Munster win the URC. Okay. Nice. Back-to-back champs for Munster if that was the case. Oh, big slam and tackle there. Looked like Canham also had his arm around the throat of the player on the ground. A miracle do have an hammy, but not for the Reds. Although this wouldn't even be considered a miracle for them to win this game. Like, they are only down by 10 points. One try and they are right back in this game, and they've got a loose ball now. Ryan Lowrens, ball is loose again. Reds are jumping all over it. I think they're going to have to check this. You still didn't tell me who's going to win the Champions Cup final. That's because I don't actually know, because it hasn't happened yet. I'll tell you after the game who I think's going to win. How about that? That's a good deal. My biscuit just fell on my cup of tea. Hashtag disappointment. It means you held it in there for too long. You got to know your limits. And you got to know the biscuits well as well. Sometimes they don't go too well. Oh, okay, they're going back for the original offside. Favour of the Reds. Another penalty their way. What type of biscuit was it, Simran? I dunked it once. Okay, well that's a terrible biscuit then. What type of biscuit? We need to know this so that everyone else doesn't suffer that same disappointment in the future. Yeah, some real good pressure on Lowrens. Welcome in, Les. Says Sebastian. They've just said about how the Reds have the option of actually going back and taking the 5 metre scrum if they want it. Now they're going for the line out instead, by the looks of it. Farm bake chocolate chip. Nah, that's your mistake. They ain't Dunkin' cookies, those ones. They crumble when you just like bite them, let alone stick them in something warm. Sounds a bit dodgy, but we were talking about cups of tea, of course. I hope you are all well. Says Simran, that one's going to be thrown in. And oh, that was an early engagement from the Rebels. So they've got themselves another penalty advantage. Here comes penalty Ravai. 5 metres from the try line. Hunter by Sami. Goes back across to Gordon, but they taste so good. They may taste good, but now like it's at the bottom of your cup, which is not ideal. I can see that you are not a betting man. That is 100% correct because I suck at betting. Yes, chocolate chip ain't for dunking. Well, chocolate chip can be. You just need a hard chocolate chip cookie rather than like a soft one. That's a yellow card to Filippo Dalgunu. That is going to be for offside. Ginger nuts, says Novmum. There's no way to talk about Tate McDermott, Novmum. But they taste so good. And Pixie Caramel always saves me. Says Spider-Man. Right, it's actually going to be Lockie Anderson who comes off the field for that yellow card. Right, the penalty's just a little bit further back, they've said, in the middle of the field. I actually think the tea ruins the biscuit. Have them separately. Ginger nuts are the best for dunking. Says Nov Mum. See, I'm a bit weird because back in my day, you know, when I used to have a hot chocolate every once in a while, I'd get some Bickies to go in it. And I always used to think that the biscuit changed the taste of the biscuit. Well, not the biscuit, but the biscuit changed the taste of the liquid. Like, it used to be not as hot chocolatey when I dunked a biscuit in it a few times. URC for what one you'd rather the Leinster boys win. And excuse me, Sebastian, I think that's a disappointing comment. There you go. Hashtag disappointment. Now Curtis Eloff onto the field for the Melbourne Rebels. They're only 5 metres out at the moment. If they keep on driving the way that they are, they could end up with a penalty try in their favour if it is sacked illegally, which I think it almost was. No, there is a grounding somewhere in there. You speak about cookies. What's cookies your favourite? I do like me a toffee pop. You know, they go all right. Hashtag disappointment. Says Sebastian. Game on. And that one is going to be the try for Fraser McWright, who has actually popped out with the try there by the looks of it. Or was it Matty Faisler? Yeah, that's McWright. I don't know if that is grounded. God, they're saying that maybe I want the Champions Cup desperately. Says Fleshin. Yeah, it wasn't the closest thing to a grounding. The only thing that was stopping him from grounding it was actually his teammate also trying to hold him so that he could put it down himself. McWright scores. Get back into the contest now. Still with 25 minutes remaining on the clock here for these two sides. Of course, tomorrow we've got plenty of rugby that is taking place, ladies and gents. So if you are new, be sure to hit that subscribe button. We'll be covering 5 games back to back to back to back, which sounds like a smart idea. Which team did just score a try? It was the Reds. And they have now converted, which will make the score now 12 points to 15. Hundreds and thousands cookies are a classic too. No dunking them, of course. Yep, exactly right. Oldie but a goodie there, hundreds and thousands biscuit. And timing is everything when it comes to dunking biscuits. Yep. There's an art to it. There's a strategy. You know, there's post-match analysis that you've got to think over and go, right, that was too long because my biscuit's gone, or that was too short and it's still hard, and if I wanted it to still be hard, I would have just eaten the biscuit. But inside of the 22, Josh Fluke running it hard, dum-de-doo, says a nov mum. Oh, he's been ankle tapped on the halfway line, but the Reds continue to all of a sudden have momentum. It seems like it's the change, to be honest, of Tate McDermott. Looking for the kick 'em behind, looking for the 50-22, and they may have just bloody got it, the Reds. Did they? No, I don't think so. It'd be Leinster's 3rd final loss in a row. A French side winning it for the 4th consecutive year. Oh, yeah, no, that's Jordan Ulysses cut open. He's a bit moist. I reckon we should conduct a cookie dunk experiment. Thoughts? Could be an idea. Oh, yeah, that was a little head clash. I mean, it's a video idea for myself and George on the entertainment channel, that is for sure. George, don't know if George likes dunking biscuits. He loves the milk, though. So we'd have to do it in cold milk, as well as maybe some other sort of milk, like warm milk or hot chocolate. He loves a hot chocolate. There you what, we're sorted now. We got a video idea for next week. Only 23 minutes remaining. The Rebels still down to 14 men for the next 6 minutes. Of course, Lockie Anderson, actually the man who was taken off the field with that yellow card. I think that would be hilarious, you and George doing that. I think it's hard to trust George with hot liquids that aren't in a formed or concealed cup. It's always the danger. Oh, looks like, tell you what, he's not having much fun at the moment. Angus Blythe, he's getting a bit of stretching going on. Vicky's good for dunking arrowroot. See, I've never been much of an arrowroot man, to be honest. We've got time to talk about biscuits, seeing as we've got another stoppage due to Jordan Ulysses' injury here, but they've never really done it for me. I've always thought, oh, that's a bit of a plain biscuit. Give them a baby drinking cup. That could be an idea, you know. Although they're not very big normally, so he'd have his milk gone in no time. Is arrowroot the one that I'm thinking of that's quite a plain biscuit? Super wines ain't bad for dunking, if I do say so myself. A baby bottle. There's Sebastian. I should do dunking challenger. I have to use no hands. So using only your mouth and blindfolded. Sounds very kinky. But like, as in like we have to dunk our heads blindfolded into the hot water. And if we go too far, we burn ourselves. That sounds like something YouTube would love in terms of recommendations. OMG, arrowroot and Scotch fingers are the best. I'm going to have to Google both of them now because I can't remember what they look like. But Jordan Ulesi, he is going to be taken from the field, I think, for an HIA here. He's going, I didn't get knocked out. They are still going to check him out. Arrowroot and biscuit. See what one of these things look like. Oh yeah, nah, I'm not a big fan of those, to be fair. It's going to be stolen by the Rebels there. Kicked into touch. I think the Lions will be too strong. Cardiff, do you agree or disagree? I think that they should be all right, the Lions, in their game. Like, it's going to be a tricky one because Cardiff will be hungry to try and get themselves a victory. I'm going to look up Scotch fingers while we wait for this line out. Scotch fingers. About to be thrown in at the front. Scotch fingers I don't think I've had. But they look all right. So maybe we'll try them in the future. We'll see. Are those biscuits with cream in the middle are good too? Oh yeah, Swiss creams, they go hard. Now passed out wide, the Reds. Chance here to link up. He's gone on the inside. Goes himself, Jock Campbell, and scores the try that gives the Reds the lead. Lucky you didn't go to bed, Spider-Mech, or else you would have missed all the fun. They have now taken the lead. Oreo. Oh, you're talking Oreos rather than Swiss creams? You might be talking Oreos. But Swiss creams, they're good. You can eat like 10 of those and then feel terrible afterwards, but they're worth it. I wish I go to sleep now. If you can say goodnight, Debbie, I will have a good night. Is your name Debbie? True crime? Or was it Tony? I guess good night to Debbie, the Debster, wherever she is. What do they do in like being gangster? You do like the one of those or something, isn't it? That's for you, Debbie. Jock Campbell just ran through everyone. Did the Tim Ryan from a couple of weeks ago. They managed to score it and they are now in the lead. That kick has gone over. And it's going to make the score after 60 minutes now, 17 points to 15. I said it at halftime. And in fact, I said it before that stage. I said if they didn't have enough points on the board, the Rebels, when McDermott makes his way onto the field, the problems were going to start. Sharks versus Benetton, did the Sharks pick their second stringers? I haven't actually seen their lineup yet. Of course, I have to look at it though because we are covering that game on the channel. All right, James O'Connor is now on the field for the last 20 minutes. True Crimes is Debbie, says a Spider-Mech. We kicked off long by the Melbourne Rebels. Smith is now also off the field for Nabo Lakasi. On into touch. Rebels now with their first real attacking chance of about the last 10 minutes. This first match of Super Rugby since this quarterfinal last year up against the Chiefs, which of course the Reds did lose. To be a line-out throw here. Oh, that's a bad throw from Talakai. It's going to be called as straight enough. I don't think that was anywhere near straight. There we go. It's going back for it being not straight. And that is while Jordan Ulesi's off the field. Okay, it was not straight first. Then it was a knock on. So it is going to be the Reds ball at this point. Yeah, Zayn and Gore. I said that the first mistake is the line-out throw rather than him trying to turn the ball over. Okay, they're just saying that Alex Murphy... Well, that's a weird one. They said that apparently Alex Murphy couldn't come on because of an injury or something. Tyson versus Paul. I got some on Tyson at 360. Expect it's rigged anyway. Well, why would you put your money on it then? If it's rigged. Because if it was rigged in anyone's favour, it probably wouldn't be Mike Tyson's, would it? Now out on the outside. Reds on the halfway line. Am I speak too early, Hammy? I think so. I mean, you said that the score was going to remain 15-5 and that you were going to go to sleep because of it. Carter Gordon, but slower getting back up to his feet. Hunter Baisami now driving up to 40 metres out. The Reds, they've got a brilliant opportunity here to be able to get themselves another try and take the lead by even more. They currently lead by an odd, or lead by a margin, that would still give the Rebels a bonus point. Now back across to the right-hand side again. And behind, James O'Connor, tackled by Carter Gordon, his opposite number. And McDermott after Paisami, great fend, ball on the outside. Tim Ryan, he's electric and he scores another one. 6 tries, 3 games for that man. The Reds have changed this game completely. They just said what I said. They said 6 tries in 3 games, which is exactly what he is. For that man, I have some faith. Not all heavyweight boxing is fixed. It's complicated. Says True Crime. Great fend from Hunter Paisami. And then just wrong-footed there, Andrew Callaway. I think he had to put in a little bit of a better effort than that, though. You've got guys who are chasing down Tim Ryan, so you at least are in the situation of there might be a tackle made, or at least half a tackle attempted by Lawrence. I just checked Sharks. They made 3 changes. Most of the big stars are there. Okay, well, I think they'll get the win. Oh, Benetton a tough side, though, so could be a good game. Joe Parker all the way. Says a true there. No, they just said made a starting debut 3 games ago, including this one. That kick has gone over from James O'Connor. That now makes the score 26 points to 15 in favour of the Reds. This game has not gone the way that the Rebels wanted. I feel like it's one of those games that will be extremely frustrating as well for Rebel supporters who have watched them pretty much go from a position of dominance in this game to then sitting down by 11 with only 15 minutes to go. Looks like it's going to be a rolling maul. The knees have gone down. Ball's going to go the way of the Reds. I thought that was off a kickoff. They will have the scrum feed here for the Reds. Tim Ryan, he's like 12. He's a bit older than that. He's about 20, I think. Oh, Tim Ryan. Already really having an impact on the way that this Red side have been able to play. Hopefully you get a little sleep and you are yawning a lot. Says Mono Lagrange. But yeah, that is one of the reasons why we can't do Stormers versus Dragons, because that is the best time for us to be able to sleep so that we can do the 10 hours of streaming tomorrow. Whereas without that sleep, I think it's going to be a bit brutal. So yeah, it's a strategic sleep tonight, but hopefully we'll be up bright and early tomorrow to get ready for that Blues versus Hurricanes game, which we are covering. That is the first game tomorrow. Bad scrum from the Reds. Penalty advantage. Now looking to the short side. Thought about the offload. McWright. Okay, Paul Williams just asking if the Reds were happy enough with the penalty advantage. They'll kick him high from Hunter Baisami, and now they will go back for the penalty. A little bit of a different tactic. Normally Paisami would not kick it. Reds over 19-20 to win halftime steep. Says Bhavani. Oh, okay. So they've just mentioned there, Sam Talakai is the nominated hooker because Alex Murphy hurt himself in the warm-up. And you do need 2 specialty hookers. The Rebels didn't have another one with them. Oh, this doesn't look good for Harry Wilson as well. He's got some heavy strapping and a sling on at the moment. Well, the Hurricanes playing tomorrow. They are playing the Blues. That is at 4:35 p.m. New Zealand time. So that's going to be a great game to watch. Hopefully, we'll go down to the wire as well. Nicely stolen there. At line out time for the Rebels. Now Carter Gordon on the outside to Filippo Dalgunu. Missed the passing opportunity to Callaway. And now is getting driven towards the touchline, but his knees are down. They've then forced him almost out. Now Lawrence back across to Gordon. Ikuasi drops his head and looks to go forward. There's an advantage, but not going the right way there against, I believe that was Connor. They'll go back now for another penalty. That was Connor Vest, who has been penalised for that one. Is that not 1 versus 2? It is. Top of the table clash between those two sides. So, of course, it should be a good game. And if it's not, I'm sure there'll be a lot of people disappointed. I think it will go to Golden Point. Says Novmum. Is that for the Hurricanes Blues game, Novmum, or this game? Currently an 11 points difference between them. Oh, yeah, some big shots on Filippo Dalgunu as they look to drive him towards the touchline. 12 minutes left now. 25 metres out, Talakai once again stolen at line-out time. So that Murphy injury is really hurting the Rebels because currently while Jordan Ulesi is not on the field, they do not really have a throw-in option. And any time that the Reds kick this one into touch, they'll be confident that they can get that ball back. They have to take it quick, the Rebels, and they've done just that. Brilliant pass across field from Lockie Anderson. And that is the best bet at the moment for the Rebels. Try and keep that ball alive. When it goes out, Lowren's hit with a cheap shot there from Fraser McRae. 45 metres out. Ikuasi. Across again. This is just going to be a little bit of a play here where the Rebels need a bit of patience and persistence. Nice run forward from Kimini. Howdy, says Katzenell, welcome in. You are keeping well. Another tackle made. They managed to roll that one out. Lawrence goes back to Gordon, still on the halfway line. Filippo Dalgunu. After 6 phases, the match played at Auckland or Wellington. It is an Eden Park game, so Auckland. Gordon got the no-look pass from Kobus Eloff. Now numbers on the outside. Kimini tackled low by Tate McDermott. Plays back across again to Kobus Eloff. Got his offload away to Gordon. One of the more skilled number ones that you'll see. That is a high tackle, an obvious one there. So it should go back for it. Yes, it does. Hunter Baisami hitting him with a high tackle again. Oh, Jordan Ulesi's about to be back, so they can kick for the corner now. In this case, he's managed to pass his HIA. He wasn't too happy about having to go off the field to pass it. But Jordan Ulesi about to make his way back out onto the field. Right. Okay, they're just talking about the fact that the clock is still ticking away for this game, even though, like, now they've stopped the clock, I believe. Oh no, they still haven't got back into it. About a minute and a half just got used up in this game. That one's gone into touch. About 10 metres from the line, Jordan Ulesi now. This match is probably too close to call. Says Mona Lagrange, and last time they met, Blues lost. That's yesterday. It's yesterday, today is today. Tomorrow, succeed. Says Spider Mick. Although your mindset of flipping a coin to decide who you bet on probably will lead to losses, I would say. Now around the side, Rebels score it. Great recycling of the ball there. I believe that was the big man, Nalo or Nabo Lakasi. Now 8 minutes remaining, the Rebels are back in it. This one's going to be a close one, ladies and gents. Big run from Sam Talakai, who for me has to be right up there in terms of man of the match contenders for the Rebels if they were to come back and win this game. Just round the side. Great recycling of the ball, and then Zainul Gore had no real wrap of his arms. Just got caught the wrong way. But Lakasi gets it. Still anyone's game. So yeah, no, Mum, of course, a very important kick here for the Rebels. If this one goes over, they'll be within a non-converted try. Gordon does get it. Now 22 points to 26 in this game. Just talking about Sam Talakai and the way that he has stepped up throughout this game. Yes, he's not normally a thrower of the ball at hooker, but he's helped his team out heavily in this game. So Maeva is making his way onto the field. That is for Tui Lima, who did start this game at 8 rather than Rob Leota. Well controlled from Filippo Dalgunu. Does get it into touch. Be about 40 metres out from the line now with the Reds and another attacking chance for them. I think next try wins in this game, and I know that that's something that you'd normally say in an under 9s game, but for me, whoever scores this next try of the game will walk away with a victory. If it's the Reds, it's going to be extremely obvious, but if it's the Rebels, you know, maybe the Reds can still get themselves that 3-pointer, get back to a drawn game scenario, and could go to golden point. That is also true. McDermott goes across to James O'Connor. Massive shot again. Justa every day of the week has just been breaking down the man at outside centre, Josh Fluke, and the penalty goes the way of the Rebels. Come on, Rebels sets Beds Blaze and Sharks versus Gloucester. Picking the Sharks in the final. They should pick to win. I think that the Sharks should have a decent chance of doing well in that game. I mean, Gloucester can't be underestimated, though. They're a decent enough side. Carter Gordon looking for the corner. But every time Josh Fluke's just been crunched by Nick Just. And that's going down to the wire. Says Spider Mick. It certainly is. If you guys are new to the channel, oh yeah, he's not looking too flash at the moment, Josh Fluke. Trying to make his way back into position. But like Nick Justa has just gone at him all day. And it seems personal at that point. Stolen though this time by the Reds at line out time. And 2 high tackles attempted there by the Reds. Okay, sounds like no advantage is going to be given. There were 2 in a row there that were a little bit high. Oh, now they're going for the penalty. And this time it's going to be offside against the Rebels. Five minutes left now. This is going to be the important stage now. The last 5. Only split by 4 points at this point. Both sides are going to be getting themselves 1 point at least in this contest. The ball, oh, it's just out from James O'Connor. Does well to get every extra metre that he can. No, Rebels don't throw this golden chance away. Says Pads ablaze. Well, that's the thing. I don't think they're going to have many more opportunities like this one to win a game throughout this season. Like, I know that sounds harsh for the Rebels, but like up against the Chiefs, I can see the Chiefs getting that one done. A few of the other games later on in the year, I think, or later on in the season, I think will be quite challenging. I think this is their best chance. Oh. So the RC Vunivalu runs straight at Paul Williams out of frustration. Going to be knocked on the way that the live standings sit. If the Reds were to win this game the way that they are sitting here, they would move up to 31 points, slowly trying to close that gap with the Brumbies, who are sitting on 35. The Waratahs are in 11th. Force are in 12th. I want to see at least 2 Australian sides, I would say, within that top 8. Oh, they've just said there, if the Rebels hang on to a losing bonus point, it would almost be enough to make it to the finals. That ball's gone in. Rebels have got themselves an advantage again. Gloucester undefeated in 14 cup games or so this season, so I'm going for them. It's probably a fair shout. I mean, Masuku seems like he could be the X factor that the Sharks need just because of his accuracy when it comes to kicking. Do they score trials? Do they score tries in this game? Yeah, we've seen actually quite a few throughout this contest. I believe the Reds have got 4 compared to the Rebels, who have got 3. I'll just quickly fact check that though. But they're getting a few of them. What we got? Stats in this game. We've got 7 tries in total. So the Chiefs versus Moana Pacifica game had 8 tries, just to put it into perspective. So it's pretty close overall in those standings. Now Lawrence goes across. This could be number 8 if the Rebels can find the try line one more time. I don't get oval ball sports. Says Harass in there as well. So which is your main sport? I assume football, then a Harass maybe? Do let me know. Now across Lowry, short ball to Kobus, Elof. If the Reds win a penalty, I believe from here they should win this game. Good shot on Canham. Back across Ekuasi. Inside ball to Jordan Ulesi. Cross again, Lowrens. Yes it is. Says Arrest there. Now Ulesi. Another tackle made by the Reds. 9 phases in. If they get themselves a penalty advantage here, the Rebels, it would be useful, but it would not win them this game because they would still need 1 extra point somewhere along the lines. They would have to go for the 7. Onto the ball, though. McBride's been told to leave it alone. It's very close. So the turnover now, Andrew Callaway looking for that gap, which isn't really existing at the moment. Moana Pacifica were just bad against the Chiefs. Says Mona Lagrange. Pop pass up out wide. Chance here in the corner. Anderson got close, but has to cut back inwards to avoid the touchline. Lawrence, 50 seconds remaining. Sam Talakai, how fitting would it be for that man to be the one who scores the last minute try in this contest? He's close to the man of the match if the Rebels do get the job done. Lawrence goes back across. There was a knock on in the breakdown. In the base of the ruck. I think it was Kobus Elof who has put that one down, and now the Reds, 19 seconds remaining here. There's a big one for the Reds. Come on, the Rebels, there's Bads ablaze. That was their chance, though. 10 phases back to back to back. They need to win the penalty against the feed. Now we've seen the Reds have been penalised more times than they have won penalties off their scrums, so there's no guarantee there. Like they've just said, 14 phases before the mistake came. Not too much talk, more action, says Paul Williams for the front rows. The Rebels, worst comes to worst, they will close out this game with 1 point for being within 7. But now the ball has to be fed in. Amelia will be pissed off, probably. Right, the ball is in. The ball comes out. And the Reds kick it into touch with James O'Connor. And that will now be the end of the contest. But nonetheless, 26-22, a close game. The Reds get 4 points. They move up to 31. The Rebels will receive 1 point for being within the 7. But we've got the big games tomorrow, ladies and gentlemen, that we are covering on the channel. It is going to be Hurricanes versus Blues. That is the opening game that we are doing. Highlanders versus Crusaders to closely follow. Brumbies versus Waratahs we are also going to be covering on the channel, I believe. Anyway, that is the plan. And then after that, we have got the game between the Bulls and Glasgow in the URC, followed by Sharks versus Benetton. So not too many gaps throughout these games, but that is definitely going to be an exciting day of rugby. And then on Sunday, we've also got the Under-20s Rugby Championship that we will be covering on the channel as well. Did it end? It did indeed. 26 points to 22, the end score in this contest. And good job, Hammy, says Spider Mech in there as well. But nonetheless, I do thank you all very much for tuning in. If you did enjoy, of course, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. And I will see you all tomorrow for plenty more of the rugby action.